Good day and good evening. Welcome to Getting Real with Paula. Today, we are touching base with Johanne and John. If you remember, those are the same two teachers from Montreal we spoke to back in May 2020. We will hear their perspective as to how things are going in the school reentry process and also how the school system is adjusting to the COVID reality. But more than the school system, we also want to know how the teacher and the kids are doing with all the procedures, the new procedures. To make this conversation even more interesting, this week, the Quebec government has declared Montreal as one of the regions that are on the orange alert. So that's the one phase 3 before the red alert, which is everything closed. So without further ado, let's get our guest on camera and start the conversation. I will start with John. I will ask you to tell us a little bit about you, your job, the various functions you have, and what grades you are teaching.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for having me on your show. It's always a pleasure to be back, to be here. So I'm a elementary teacher school. I'm a specialist, so I'm not a regular teacher where I teach math and French and everything. My class is drama class, so I'm a elementary drama class teacher, and I have kids from every grade, so from first grade to sixth grade, and this is my role in the school. So I have to teach them. In my class we do a lot of plays, different roles. I teach them how to create a story, how to play a story, how to analyze a story. So this is my job in the elementary school. This is what I do in my class.
Thank you. So Joanne, can you tell us a little bit about you? Hello, Joanne.
Hi, how is everyone today? Well, I am a high school teacher. I teach English as a second language. I've been doing it for quite a few years. So I teach grade 10, which is secondary 4, on the island of Montreal. And what else was I supposed to say?
That's pretty much that. So you're doing good. We saw you came in with part of the equipment order. So let's start the conversation by asking you to walk us through a typical day. Both. I'll start with John. Let's go with you first. Since you're already on camera, the secondary student in this new school context, what does a typical day looks like for them once they step foot into the school?
You're asking me, right?
Yes.
Okay. So when we come in the school, actually, when I come in the school, I have my personal mask that looks like this because it's fancy. However, when I am in the classroom, I have to wear the procedural mask like this. And I have to remain 2 meters from the first row of the students in order not to, or rather in order not to wear this. So I also have this. Okay. Now, as soon as a student comes inside of the building, they also have to have a mask. So basically, you're walking around a school where everyone who is in transit is wearing a mask. And when the student enters the classroom, and again, I'm explaining how it is in a high school, we have spray bottles where the student will spray, or the adult, it depends, sometimes it's us, sometimes it's a designated volunteer who sprays the students' hands as they come inside of the classroom. Once they are seated at their seat, that's when they can remove the mask. So when they are seated and they are in what we call leur bulle, that is where they can remove the mask. And I'll show you a little bit later, because I am in my classroom, in one of my 6 classrooms. That's where I am right now. And I'll be able to show you what we did to the floors, how the desks are set up, where my desk is as opposed to where the students are, in order for you to better understand, how things have changed and how things are right now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
John, you're in the primary school. Tell
And
me, how does it look like?
yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. Well, let's say when I arrive at school, I need to have my mask. All right, okay. So same thing. I have my little fancy mask when I go out from my car to the school. But when I'm in my classroom, I always need to have this procedure mask. Okay, the little blue one, the normal one, the medical one. Okay, so you enter the school, you wash your hands always. You always wash your hand. Let's say you go in the salon du personnel. And let's say I put my lunch in the fridge. I have to, watch the fridge because I touched it, and then I have to wash my hand again. And then I go back to my class. And also in my class, I do have little tapes so that the student, they can know, okay, I can go here, but I can't, travel that little red duct tape. This duct tape is like the limit where they can pass. And also it's my limit or where I need to have my mask. So let's say I'm in that my zone, my safe zone, and there's no kids dans le 2 mètres, then it's okay. Sometimes I remove my mask and I work on my computer. But as soon as a kid have a question or I'm teaching something, then I have to put my mask on. Also, same thing for the student. They need to wash their hands as soon as they enter the school. And when they're leaving the school, also they need to wash their hands. Okay, always, always, always. In elementary school, though, it's only the big ones who need to have their mask. So 5th grade and 6th grade, they have it. It's mandatory to have the mask when they circulate in the school. And as of the 1st grade through the 4th grade, it's recommended. So it's if they want to have it, they can have it, but it's not mandatory for them. Okay, but what I've realized right now is that everyone pretty much has their own mask. Even the 1st grades, they do have it. A lot of parents want their kids to have their own mask to wear them correctly. So even if it's not mandatory, most of them, from what I've seen, have them.
Okay. So you've told me how they enter into the classroom. So during the day, what happens?
Yeah.
What happens during the breaks, the lunch,
So this is where
have to get to the bathroom?
This is the fun part, right? This is the fun part of the day, all right? Because thing is, children at elementary school, they have to wash their hands 10 times mandatory, minimum 10 times. So when they enter the school, it's the first time. When they enter the school, and then for the snack. So before the snack, 2nd time. After the snack, 3rd time. Then before recess, the 1st recess, 4th time. After the 1st recess, the 5th time. Before lunch, the 6th time. After lunch, 7th time. Before the 2nd recess, the 8th one. After the 2nd recess, the 9th one. And then for the last time, the 10th time, it's when they're going to leave the school. So they always have to wash their hands. Basically at the end of the year, they won't have any hand. They'll have they won't have anything because they're always washing their hands. Okay, but this is only when it's mandatory. Now, if they leave the classroom, let's say to go to the bathroom, or they want to have they forgot something. Let's say at recess, because it happens a lot. You go at recess and then you forget your coat because you forgot you had the coat on. Obviously, right? So when they need to go back and take their coat, then they need to wash their hands before you leave the classroom. And when they come back, they need to wash their hands also. Let's say ils toussent, achum, 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 then they need to wash their hands also. And let's say ils se mouchent, they need to wash their hands. So they're always washing their hands. And it is complicated a little because it's adding on the time that we need to teach them.
That's right.
Exactly. Because, for example, let's say you have 1st grade, because I have 1st grade, all right? Au secondaire, 6th grade, high school kids, and even then, it's pretty easy to wash their hands. You know how to do it. But 1st grade, they don't really have all this motricité with their hands. So it's a little bit longer. So when you have 20 students, 21st grade students who needs to wash their hand before getting in the classroom, then it takes a lot of time, all right? So it piles up and it adds up to your teaching time. So let's say I have a class for 1 hour. Well, I need to use at least 10 minutes for them to wash their hands before I can finally start teaching. So this is where it's a little bit challenging. And then so it before they enter the school, but then after recess, it's the same problem. After recess, it's the same problem. So, right now we found a solution. We're using the gel désinfectant, les purelles. So it's not really on water. Sometimes we use the gel désinfectant, but it's not the same thing, And some classes doesn't really have the lavabo dans leur classe, so they need to use the gel. So we're getting used to it. We're adapting ourselves to it with this situation. But the lavage des mains is taking a lot of time on the teaching time that we have. A lot.
Okay. I'm going to go back to Johanne because you started. And
well, you know what?
Go ahead. The question I have, because I've seen you with some of your gear. Can you show us what's your protective gear in the classroom and tell us how you use it throughout the day? And you won't mention that you were also going to show us what the room looks like in terms of signage.
Yes. Okay. So as I was saying, when I'm in the classroom, this is the mask I wear. I also wear this protective gear. Now, as soon as the students enter the class, you see this says main. There's one for the hands, and there's one for the desks, pour les pupitres. So we want to get them into the habit of cleaning their. Can you guys hear me? Because that's how that's what it is. I'm like this in the class, and I have to speak loudly enough so that they can hear and understand me. I teach English as a second language, and it is very important for the students to see my mouth in order to understand what I'm saying. So what I do is I mostly remain behind the line that I'm going to show you in a few minutes, and I keep this on so that at least they can see my lips, they can see when I'm talking with them. So as I was telling you, as soon as they enter the class, we spray this into their hands.
Yeah.
Now, what is this? I don't know.
Some disinfectant.
That's why I'm telling you,
that disinfects the hands. And I should tell you that, we're into the second month, right? Yeah. And as John mentioned, it's like every time they step out or every time they have to get up or blow their nose or just do something, they have to disinfect their hands. So I can already see how some students are over it. It's like you want to spray and then they go like this.
Yeah.
and I have some colleagues who've noticed and who have mentioned it. So now I pay attention to it, where you spray their hands and then they go like this.
So they don't wash it for real.
And it's like, because it's used over and over and over and the whole day. So again, that's what's used. Now let me show you, because I can move my computer. Okay, hold on, just bear with me. So you are going to enter the class with me. Okay, so this is us entering the classroom. And what you see here, so that first line is where I stand behind that line, so that the students who are behind the red line or that row is at 2 meters from where I am, from where my desk is. So when I'm behind that line, again, I don't like to have nothing on, so I do have the visor. So that's where I will stand, as I was telling you guys before, just for them to be able to see, when I'm talking with them, that, they can decipher what it is that I'm saying. And again, back to, I'm repeating myself when I say it's always like, the washing of the hands when they're in their seats. That's when they do not have to have the mask on. However, I find that that was maybe the first and second week, many students just kept the mask on the whole period.
Yeah, true.
But as the days and the weeks go by, when you're only 3 doing that in a class of, I don't know, 28, 30. Like I saw when some students who at first would always wear the mask, now they don't. And again, because they're in their bulle, la bulle class, and when they're behind that line, then they can just not wear a mask. Well, they don't. And it's I guess we have to constantly remind them that there is something out there and that they have to be careful, because you have one student borrowing the other student's water bottle.
Oh yeah, word. I have a better story for you. I have a
Go
better
ahead with the story, John.
Oh my God. 'Cause since we're talking about, you have to teach them how to wear the
Yes.
mask and everything,
Uh-huh.
and then you see, in theory, all right, on paper, the plan was perfect. Well, perfect.
Yes, right?
But on paper, it worked. Now, when it's on the field, let me give you a little story, and I'm pretty sure if some of other teachers who are listening to us, I'm pretty sure you had maybe the same story. So I was sitting to my class, second grade, all right, and so they all have their math. It's perfect. At one point, one of the students, she wants to make a little joke to her friend. So the joke is, you know what? Let me take the mask and then I'll hide it. All right. So she takes the mask of her friend. So let me repeat myself. She takes with her hand a mask of her friend. She takes it. Okay. She wants to hide it. So she's telling herself, okay, where can I hide it? Great idea. On me. So she put the mask on her face, and this is one of the many stories that we have. Kids who, they borrowed their friend's mask, or kids, sometimes they drop their mask and then they put it back on their face, or other students, or other example, there's a kid, all right? He's in this bulle. So he wants to go to the bathroom, and they know I have to respect all other bubbles. So if I see a kid or I see a student from another bubble, I won't talk to him. I can talk to him, but I won't touch him. I have to respect the 1 meter distance. So this kid, first grade, he leaves his classroom. He wants to go to the bathroom, and as he's walking, he's high-fiving 5 other students from a different bubble. So in theory it works, but in practice it's long to make the students they understand that there's a such situation, but there's this reflex, this human reflex that they have them to apply it after in the context. So there's a lot of challenges. For me, I don't think the plan is bad. I just think the plan needs time to be successful. And with the situation that's going on, I'm pretty sure it's only my honest opinion, but I think that, we won't have time to put this plan into motion, because we might go back into confinement pretty sooner than later. That's what I think.
If I was to ask you, and I'll let you decide which one wants to talk first, from a teacher's perspective, how has this changed your role in the classroom?
I will tell you that it has diminished diminish. It's a strong word, but I'll explain myself. It has diminished my teaching role. All right, because since they have to wash their hands always before and after and blah 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 and etc., then the 60 minutes that I usually have now, it turns out it's maybe 50 minutes, it's 45 minutes, because to explain everything, yes, they do have to wash their hands, but they did not extend our teaching moments.
That's
all right. So we still have only 60 minutes or 75 minutes. Okay. And so usually when they give us the schedule, they give us, okay, you have 2 minutes between recess and the start of your class, or 5 minutes between recess and the start of your class. So that's what usually is happening. That's how it is usually. But right now, we still have only 2 minutes between recess and the start of the class, but washing their hands is much longer than only 2 minutes. So I have to sacrifice my teaching hours so that they can wash their hands. So the lessons that I had planned, I had to reduce them. All my lessons for the whole year, I have to reduce them for about 10 to 15 minutes, because I need to plan now that, okay, I will need some time to make them wash their hands. So this is how I think it's affecting my role in the class. I'm losing teaching time, so I need to adapt myself so that if I still want to maximize, the notion I want to teach them and les apprentissages qu'ils font, if I want to maximize les apprentissages, then I need to plan my classes a little bit differently. So sometimes, and it goes to what my principal was saying, and I love this sentence. She was saying, this year, it's really special, and so we need to do what it's. I'll say it in French because she said it in French and it's powerful in French, and I don't want to mess it up. She said, cette année, on va faire qu'est-ce qui est essentiel, and she makes a difference between important and essential. Exactly. Il y a une différence entre important et essentiel. Sometimes quelque chose qui est important est peut-être pas essentiel, and this is my philosophy also this year in what I'm teaching them. I know it's important, but do I really need to teach this this year? If I can, let's say, take it off, I'll take it off. So this is how I'm managing and I'm teaching this year. So this is how it affected my role in the class.
I think the key word, John, that you use is adaptation. And I think everyone has to be aware that everyone is going through something, and we've got to navigate through something that is so new, something that is unprecedented, and where your lesson that was 60 minutes or 75 minutes and that, you would have planned a certain way, that's done. This year, that is done. And I think we're blessed in our school to have a principal who from the get-go, I think it's the same message that you got, John, where he tells us or encourages us to, I guess, accept that, it's going to take some time. So not to feel, away about not starting class on time. It's going to take some time now because we've got to disinfect, because the teacher who was there before, has left. Has he disinfected before he left? Would he have time because he's got to run now to another classroom? Because again, as I was saying, I've got 6 classrooms to go to instead of that one classroom where I had the students come in instead. So yes, the bell rings. Do the students stay behind the door a little longer than they used to? Sure. We want everyone to be understanding. Now, once everyone is in the classroom, once everyone has disinfected, let's sit down and, it's not like, okay, with the blink of an eye that everyone is quiet. So there's just a lot of adjustment time. And by the time now you plug in your computer, like everything is slow motion. And I think that it's something that has to be said so that people understand that, again, this year is special. So that where you see that one colleague seems to have everything under control and, is able to carry on as if COVID never existed. Well, if that's not your case, listen, that's life. Exactly. And don't beat yourself up, for that. Let's just go with the flow and take things as they are. And I wanted to just, make the jump on when I'm talking about adaptation. Right now, we're not using the same tools that we did last year or, all these years ago. So it's not pluriportail anymore, for example. It's not, obviously, c'est l'école à distance, right? So there are different applications that we're using now. We have Google Classrooms, we have Mosaic. I don't know what you're using, John, but all these things are like so new. And whereas some teachers had, I guess, the time, the possibility, I don't know, to master these things over the course of the past months when, we were at home in April and May and June, and they were able to make do. That's not everyone's situation. That's not everyone's experience. So now that we're in the month of, August, September, and that it was decided that we are now using the same platforms, we're using the same applications, it's going to take time for one adult or teacher to get in the groove as opposed to your other colleague who's been in that groove, since 5 months already and understands how to do things. I could say that I'm surrounded by colleagues who are willing to help. So when they see that you're struggling, they're right, there to help you. So I guess the thing is to let people know that you're struggling. Let your colleagues know
Exactly.
that you're
You
having a
know,
hard time with this in order to get help, because there aren't more hours in a day.
no, and also,
Is the time, to go get, les formations, puis si, where?
yeah, true, true, true. And I just want to piggyback on what you were saying. We
Yeah.
had a rencontre des profs yesterday, and people were saying, yeah, we have so many things to do, so many things to read, so many
Hmm.
formations.
Yes.
There's a lot of stuff to do, but we don't necessarily have the time because we need to,
Time. Yeah.
modifier une planification. We need to do this,
Mm.
and then also we need to we need to prepare the students to those applications. So I have to adapt myself. Je dois m'approprier l'application. I have to adapt myself. I have to learn that application. Then I have to teach my class the application, and I'm just getting used to. To that 45 minutes that I have instead of 60 minutes. I'm just getting used to teaching in 2 meters de distance. I'm just getting used to not sending homeworks now because we want to limit the number of books that are traveling from the school to the home. So I'm just getting used to everything, and then I have to get used to this new application, and we need to know that it's not every teacher has the same technological capacity, and it's not easy.
Absolutely.
Not
Mhm.
easy. And just to add on that, in our centre de service scolaire, they were changing application last year before COVID. They were already making some changement dans les applications or where they were using Mosaic or Pluriportail. So we already need to get used to this new application that was coming before COVID. And now, at the same time, we need to get used to this new application and really quickly because we need to train our kids. And
That's right.
we need also, training a high school kid, training a first grade kid. It's different, right? So it's a lot of stuff. So we're willing to make it, but as a teacher, we need, and parents, they need to give us time.
Yeah, they need to be patient.
Yeah, exactly. It won't be easy. It might be long. And if it's long, just deal with it.
For me, there's two questions that come to mind. The first one that comes to mind is, how is your relationship with your colleagues working? Because we don't tolerate change the same way. So how do you see those interactions? Have they
Well,
changed?
on my part, I'm new to the school where I am because I don't have my permanence yet. So I'm always jumping from one school to another. All right. And this year, it's pretty okay. It's pretty good. You can feel and you can sense the anxiety from each and every teacher. But what I love where I'm working this year, that we're talking about it. All right.
That's right.
So let's say a first grade teacher will tell me, "Oh my God, you know what? The kids are late," or "Oh my God, I can't. This is really difficult," and etc. and etc. So we're talking about it. So let's say, for instance, in the school where I'm working, the regular teachers, they are the one who are giving the art plastique class. The art plastique. In some school, they have a specialist, just like me. I'm a drama specialist. In some school, they have the art plastic specialist. But in this school, the regular teacher are doing it. And so, let's say we go back to a confinement, they will still have to teach this class. Okay, instead of only the essential class they were saying last year, now they will have to teach. They will have to teach everything. Okay, so when we were en rencontre, teachers, they expressed themselves and they said, this will be tough for me because I don't know what I can do with my kid, with my students at distance on art plastic. I mean, if they don't have scissors, if they don't have papers, if they don't have pen. And so when I heard that, I automatically wrote to my conseillère pédagogique and I told her, okay, I need links, I need some types of trainings for teachers so that they can teach this class at distance. And then when I'm going to receive the answer, I'll just forward it to all the teachers, So that's what talking between us is doing. It's helping us, okay, I have information, I can help you. We also have une responsable technologie in our school. So she's the one who's going to help all the teachers setting up their Google Classroom, setting up everything. So you can feel the anxiety, and it's normal, but we're not putting the anxiety on the back of someone else. We're not saying, well, it's your fault. We're all in the same boat. So, and we are realizing that we're all in the same boat. So it's a good relationship, but there's anxiety in the air. You can totally feel it. Definitely.
I agree. And in our case, I don't know if you're new to your school, so maybe you wouldn't know, but I have a few colleagues, I'm counting at least 3, who have taken their retirement because they're like, you know what? It's no time for me to start something new. And like in May, June, the anxiety was there. And then it's coming up in August, September. So yes, I'll agree with you that now we're in the same boat. So people know that, listen, it's difficult for you, it's difficult for me. If it's easier for you, then help me. So at least that's the vibe that we're getting, where people are willing to help each other. But yes, you can feel the anxiety levels. And it's funny at times, like we have to laugh about it because what else can we do? I mean,
So you know, let's say there's a confinement tomorrow and we're all not ready for the Google Classroom. Just let's laugh. Okay, we're all in the same thing. We're all going to, tomorrow we're all going to cry. Okay, I have to put up a room, but right now, let's laugh.
But you know what? The reality is that, and I felt that even in May, even April, May, June, like, I don't know, parents expected teachers to have it all together even back then. And that to me was, crazy a little. So imagine now many months down the line where it's August, September, now October, right? And you still don't have it together? Like, what's going on with you guys? I think that we need to reiterate that each person handles it or is able to, I don't know, it's just different and different.
It's a message to the parents.
That's what I told my students that. I also told the parents that I was able to speak to through a Zoom meeting for a parent-teacher meeting, because the parent-teacher meeting was, at distance this year. But that's my message. My message is, you know what, bear with us. It's tough. I mean, we're living something in the classroom and we've got our lives. And we've got our homes, and you don't know what people's situations are. So, and again, I repeat myself, it's unprecedented. We're all having to deal with what's going on. So,
the other element I was thinking, because you're talking about all of the timelines and the fact that your teaching time has been reduced. And we're not even talking about the new platforms and everything that you have to familiarize yourself with. The reality is we're still in this period, we're in Canada, where I go in and out and it goes easy. It's a free flow. Winter's gonna come. So we already know it takes more time in winter with the boots, the hats, the this, the that. Where did I put my mask? It's not with my glove. Did it fall? And how do we manage that? Because that's gonna shrink the teaching time even more.
We won't teach. No, we won't teach.
Okay.
We'll teach less.
No, for real, I think us teachers will need to figure something out, and we will figure something out. Okay, we don't have the answer right now. No, because sometimes, and I think every teacher is maybe the same, or we all have the same capacity to be in the moment. Because in your class when you're teaching, you're always looking for everything. So you're looking for the facial expression of your student. You're looking for are they understanding what I'm saying? Are they here? So you're always in the moment. You're always there 100% in the moment. And so that's why we're always able to adapt ourselves really quickly. Let's say my class is not working, something is going on, I'm switching my lesson directly. So we have a strong capacity to adapt ourselves in the moment. So I think that even though we don't have an answer right now, when we'll be in the moment, the first, let's say snow, the first time they'll have, all their jacket, les pantalons neige and their boots and the gloves and everything, the first time we'll live this, it'll be living hell. But the next day, we will have it figure it out for sure. So that's why I don't really have an answer right now, because it will be something new.
But you know what? You may not have an answer right now also because, and I don't know if in your school, it's probably the same thing. In our school, we have a committee qui se penche sur ces
Yeah,
questions-là. So
same
there
thing.
are actually teachers who volunteer to be in such a committee where they're thinking about these things. I'm not on the committee, so I can't answer that question.
Mm,
John, I don't suppose that you're in that committee either.
I'm not
But
yet.
I'm sure that the administration, along with other
Mhm.
teachers or employees, are already just
Ahead.
foreseeing,
Yeah,
some of the
yeah.
things that are going to come up, because obviously if we're asking the question is because we can see that that's going to be a problem later.
Mhm.
And that by then, or when it's the time for them to share with us, okay, well, this is the plan, this is what we're going to do. I think that we'll be ready for whatever comes our way. I'd
Mm.
like to think that.
And also, kids are smart. All right. Elementary kids or high school students, elementary school students, they're really smart. The way they adapt themselves to this new reality, let's say when they go in let's say they enter the school, okay, at my school, they know exactly, okay, we're in a bubble, so we have to enter by this door. We cannot enter by this door, and they know it. And yeah, some of them just want to make fun and okay, I'll go out on this door, but c'est une petite partie. Most of the kids, I want to say 98%
Mhm.
of them, 98% of the students, they respect the rules and they know that when, okay, let's say this is where the gel désinfectant is, I have to push it 2 times to have enough gel
Mhm.
in my hand. They know it. And now, let's say week 1, where it took us 20-25 minutes just to start the class, right now it can take me 5 to 10 minutes maximum, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Kids
Okay.
are kids are smart,
Mm-hmm.
really
Yeah,
adaptable,
definitely.
and they also, and speaking for my students, they don't want to lose a lot of times. They love their classes. They love drama class. They love their classes, so they don't want to lose a lot of time. So let's say it'll be long week 1 of when the snow will come, but even them, they will want to find a solution because they don't want to lose 25 to 30 minutes of class. They don't
Yeah.
want that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If I was to ask, and I guess for me, we've talked about the teacher, we've thought about what the school has put in place. Uh, how can you make sure the children are able to learn? I know we're only in September, so technically there hasn't been any exams or anything like that. But can you notice whether the children in your classroom, the students in your classroom, are actually able to concentrate and start taking in the information you're passing?
Well, you know what? As long as we're still in the classroom, we will be able to know. Because imagine, and my colleagues and I were talking about that just earlier today. We're so like, it's great that we are still in the classroom. Imagine we were back home 3 weeks ago, where you have to teach the students that you don't know yet. Behind the
Mhm.
screen, you don't know, comme tu connais pas encore les visages, you haven't
Mhm.
gotten to know the students, yet you've got 30 des petits ronds là, and these are the students that are in your Google Classroom or in, whatever application you're using, and you have to teach at home. I think that the experience that was had in, from March to June kind of gave us an idea of how difficult it is for the students to keep up with learning at a distance. They don't want to go back home. They want to
Yeah.
remain in the classroom. And as long as they're in the classroom, we teachers are able to gauge the learning. So I think, anyway, I'll speak for myself. I don't know if I'm trying to rush a little, like I've given them 3 dictations already, and normally I would have been at dictation 1. I'm giving them, things to read already. Like, I want to just get an idea of where they're at. Again, I teach English as a second language. The first term, I usually just gather information and see, faire une genre de mise à niveau to find out
Mhm.
where everyone is, like what their skills are. And I'm finding myself just doing things a little more rapidly. So though I have less time, I do, I don't know, I do more because we don't know what tomorrow holds.
Mhm.
We don't know, are we going back home, in a few weeks, next
Yeah.
month? So I can already tell you that I know, like when I'm looking, at my different classes, I already know most of my students, I can already, like, I've gotten to know them already. Whereas, in the past years, maybe it would have taken me a little longer to get through that process.
Yeah. They know that we can, and maybe this was the blessing in disguise, okay, where kids now realize that school is not something that key. You can lose this opportunity to be at school anytime, any given day. So I think that now they are more focused on class because they know that, well, we might not be here tomorrow, and they also hear the news, they also read the news, they also know that we're in Mode Orange. I mean, I was with my third grade class, no, fourth grade, excuse me, Monday, and as I was saying, we were leaving my class, they were going back to their class, and they needed to wash their hand. And I was saying, guys, be extra cautious right now. We just jumped from mode jaune to zone orange, and the kid, they were saying, yes, I know, we know, Monsieur Cadet. Là, on est dans la zone orange. C'est un peu plus compliqué. Il faut faire plus attention. So they know, and they don't want to go back to virtual class, So they're really more focused on class. From my honest perspective, they're focused. But what I've realized en termes d'apprentissage is that, and maybe Johanne, it's the same thing for you, you can feel and you can sense that they have un retard between where they're supposed to be normally in their grade this are right now. Okay. And so in the way that and so in the project that I'm giving them, I need to be aware that they are going to be a little 2-3 steps backward. For example, for my second grades, usually I give them une nouvelle pièce de théâtre and they have to read it because they learned how to read in first grade. But now, come September, they are still in mid first grade still, so their reading skills are not really, really over the top. So I need to be aware of this in my way of teaching in the project that I'm giving them. But still, they are still able to learn the correct way, to learn the right way, because they want to be here and they want to stay here.
Thank you. I am conscious of the time. I would like to maybe ask you the last question. What would be the 2 or 3 things that you would like to share with our parents out there?
Patience. But
Okay.
the first thing is, when you have a symptom, the way things are going right now is, if you have a symptom, you need to keep your kid at home for 24 hours, and then you go get tested, and then you wait for the results. And if the result is negative, then the parents don't need to say it to the school, because if the result is positive, then Santé Publique will call them. All right. One of the things I will say to the parents is, talk to your teacher. I mean, keep that same relationship. Let's say your kid is going to be tested. He will lose 2-3 days of school. Text us, write us a message, ask for, okay, what can he do, so that we can maybe send you and something we already have, or we can tell you, okay, well, this is what I'm going to do in the class. So if he has his books, he can read this, or if you can come at school and maybe we can give you the books that he needs or something, I mean, talk to us. Okay. Don't leave us in the dark, because when the student comes back after 4 days, he's already 4 days late, and 4 days is huge. I mean, we're trying to catch up le retard qu'on a pris depuis Mars. So 4 days, a lot of notion that you missed. It's a lot of things, and sometimes for some of the specialists, just like me, or in high school, when you lose a class, the next time you'll see the teacher is next week. So you lost 1 week of English or 1 week of drama class. Well, it's a lot. So talk to us, write us. You have our email. Keep contact with us. That's one of the first thing. And second thing is patience. Patience. It's long for us to adapt ourselves to this whole new situation, and we want to make sure that the students are learning in the right environment. So be patient with us. If we don't have an answer for you right now, just give us a time before we can give you the right answer.
Okay.
I'm going to say
on your side.
Yeah, I'm going to say the same thing as John. However, what I'm going to add, at least In the high school sector, again, this is the exact conversation that I had with my colleagues earlier today, where they have children at the elementary level, and they expected for the teacher to be able to provide work or assignments or whatnot for the one student or, two students who are at home because either they're awaiting test or, they're sick in the moment. Now, again, when we're talking about people are different and, there's adaptation, right? Adjustment. There are some teachers, they're ready. They're ready to do all that. It was already in the way that they do things, where they have everything already on Google Classroom. They already have everything on a file. And whenever someone is absent, boom, boom, there, you can just come get it. It's ready for you. Not every teacher is the same. So then you'll find those teachers, and we have lots of new teachers as well, for whom it's already so much, all of this going on, it takes so much energy. It's so much or like adjustment for them to just get through the day. Now you've got one student who's absent. You haven't seen him for 1 or 2 days, but then he comes back, and then it's the other student who's not there and then comes back after 2 days. So again, in the same, I want to reiterate the word patience. I think that at one point, yes, everything will be available on Google Classroom, for example, if that's what's being used, because the time that it's taking right now for us to familiarize ourselves with those different applications, we will get it. So again, we're crossing our fingers that we don't have to go back home, anytime soon. But when 1 or 2 students are absent, yes, you'll find some teachers who already have everything and it's already on the application for you to just to be aware of it. But I wouldn't say that it's the case across the board. So be patient. I would say, as John said, contact the teacher. Like, as he said, keep contact with the teachers, send a message, and then you'll know right off the bat, okay, what is the teacher comfortable in doing? The teacher will most probably reply to you, so at least there's, that email back and forth. But to just expect that because the math teacher put all the exercises on Google Classroom and, the history teacher, there's nothing. Yeah, we're not all there yet, but we're getting there.
Okay. Thank you very much. It is really, really interesting to hear and see what your reality is. It feels as though we're in one of those sci-fi movies and then there's kids coming in and it's all of this adjustment. When you're watching the movies, it rolls and it feels seamless, but when you're in that reality, it's like I'm trying to make a corner, but I'm not sure whether it's gonna work. So it's an adjustment. So for that, I have to say thank you very much for your candor, sharing with us some of your challenges, and also thank you for being there for our kids. Because I have to be honest, as a parent, knowing that you're paying so close attention to what happens to the kids when they're there and how to make that experience as easy for them as possible, there's no words. It's priceless. It's one of those MasterCard moments. But thank you. Thank you very much. And again, it's been a pleasure having you back on the show. So hang in there. We'll remember every single parent I talk to, I will tell them, be patient, be patient. And the good part is that all of us are in that adaptation mode as well. So be it at work, be it working from home, be it having to do my job, but I have to incorporate a lot more other elements. Everybody's there as well. So we all have to be patient with one another. Yes. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you again.
You're welcome.
It's been excellent. Enjoy the rest of your evening and we'll talk.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.